Surviving Reality contains explicit content full of snark and sarcasm that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to Surviving Reality.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly, and this is The Traitors Season 4, Episode 9, Think Outside the Box.
Okay, we are thinking outside the box a little bit. There's not really much need to think outside the box, except for Maisie's trying to bash her face into the mic. But
it's like the one thing she's not supposed to do while we record, and
she's
trying her hardest.
As soon as we start, we had a whole conversation about it beforehand. We were like, hey,
she's literally just trying to bash her body into it.
Yeah, she can't get settled in. She's eating her paws. If you're on the top tier of the Patreon, you're seeing all of this as well. You know what we're talking about here.
You know what we look like. That seems to be a big topic of conversation.
I guess so, yeah. But this is the sample preview of we're doing some adjustments. We're changing the tier benefits on the Patreon. So there's big updates coming for you at the beginning of March. This is just a little sneak peek of what that top tier is going to look like when those changes are fully implemented as well. So just a heads up on that. We'll have a public post on the Patreon here in the next few weeks with all the details about the tier adjustments as well. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. That's over at patreon.com/survivingpod. We also have all the links in the description as usual if you're listening on the public feed.
Let's get into it.
Let's do that.
We left off on something I was very excited about. We're waiting to find out if Eric is going to accept the ultimatum to become a traitor.
This was the suspense of the entire episode. And it wasn't too much of a risk here for us to say, I think he's going to accept, right? Because obviously if he said no to the ultimatum request, Maisie sneezing into the mic, sorry. If he said no to the ultimatum request here of join me as a traitor, he would be murdered and immediately removed from the game. So I think we took a little gamble on our bracketology list here, and we said, you know what? I think Eric's going to say yes. So we put him up at the top with Rob this week.
Redemption.
So
because last week we busted our bracket with Candace going home.
Busted. Yeah, Candace was way too high on our list. That was a problem. We didn't really do too great aside from that because both people who went home this week cost us points. Both of our 0-point people were still sticking around at the end, which is a real bummer here.
Yeah, but there were like no previews to give us an idea of what happened in the episode.
We're at that point in the season where they're not giving away that information.
No, there was nothing at the end of this one.
No. Yeah, so they're not teasing anything out here. They're not going to let you know. You can't back your way into this as far as seeing who's at the round table or seeing wide shots of the challenges.
True, faithful gut feelings from here on out.
It's all just blind reads. Much like the first week when it was just you had to guess for 3 whole episodes of who's going to go.
Sucked.
That was terrible. That was really, really hard. So I'm glad that we're at this point. We had a pretty good read, though. Eric says yes. What a dynamic duo this created for us, though.
So excited to watch Eric play as a traitor.
This is Eric and Rob teaming up because, of course, Eric sees Rob reveal himself here as a traitor. He had no idea.
So shocked.
So, of course, he's going to say,
taken aback.
I want to play with Rob because I had no idea. Nobody else in this house knows.
He's like really good at this game.
He's really, really good.
And I think he chose me because I'm being such a good faithful so far.
I'm so smart and I can add to the strategery that's taking place here.
Look, I love Eric. He's very endearing. But he is the epitome of a dumb faithful who has been chosen by a traitor to be used and discarded at some point.
For the recruitment purposes to be thrown under the bus immediately, yes. That is the textbook example of where he's at right now. I would say the quintessential dumb faithful, though, is still Maura and her hats. Because that is where
the hats should get their own vote, like the dagger.
That's the dagger count, is that it's just top of the hat to you.
It's under the hat.
Top of the morning, top of the hat. And that's where the votes go. But like, I think that's what it comes down to is where she is just so dead set on it's not the people that I trust. And if you say that it's me, then you're way off base. And now I think it's you. So she does the immediate reactionary. She's not a good faithful for a traitor to throw under the bus because she would fight back.
She gets aggressive.
Yeah, she
in her defense of herself. Some people aren't good at that.
Eric, I don't
He's one of them.
I don't think he's going to have much of a case to defend himself with, especially given some of the circumstances with a few faithfuls who left based on his testimony at previous roundtables, things of that nature.
I'm worried about him from the start because
right from the go.
The first quote we get from him is, I need a helmet and an adult diaper because I'm going to shit myself and my head's going to explode.
And that pretty much sums up Eric's experience as a traitor, I think, because, yeah, that's immediately what you're going into is Rob has to tell him to, okay, great, you're a traitor now? Let's go up to the turret because we have to murder somebody. And Eric's like, we have to murder somebody? It's like, yeah, that's kind of what we do.
He immediately starts whispering, too, from the minute he finds out he's a traitor.
Well, he already knew that, yeah, it was... He thought he heard the traitors out in the woods.
So he's keeping his voice really
so he has
quiet.
To really, yeah, I'm just going to keep it down to her.
They get in the turret. He's like, I don't know why I'm whispering. There's only two of us in
I know
here.
It's just us and Alan's not here, but I'm just very concerned. I have concerns. So, yeah.
I love that he's following Rob around like he's Rob's apprentice.
He's like a lost puppy, though, at this point,
Yeah,
too.
you got to teach me how to play now.
Yeah, I'm
this
scared.
is funny, though. Remember when, oh my gosh, Kate Chastain got chosen to become a traitor?
Phaedra recruited
and
her.
Phaedra was like, okay, now
what do you want to do?
You do the game strategy. And she was like...
What do you think our next move is? And what?
She was like, I've been a traitor for 30 seconds. I don't know how to do this yet.
I have no plan. I have no plan. I was playing as a faithful up until moments ago. Yeah. So
Eric's not going to be doing that.
No, it doesn't seem
he needs
like
a little
that.
guidance at first.
Right. So here's the bummer, though, is immediately, right out the gate, who do we murder? There's names that are being thrown around. I thought for sure. So this is where I was leaning into this for our bracket. Thought for sure Johnny was going to be top tier fodder for the roundtable discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So what better way to point all eyes and steer all of this attention towards Johnny than by murdering Tara? That would be such an easy thing to do that maybe not a lot of people would expect. So there is kind of the randomness to it, but then also you can assign, oh my gosh, that was Johnny who started to have suspicion, and now he needed to deflect by saying, well, why would I, if I were a traitor, why would I get rid of Tara?
Mm-hmm. She's my closest person. Well, he can't say that.
He wouldn't say that. Not right now.
Later on in the game, he would. But right now, why would I murder my work acquaintance?
My colleague and friend. Loose friend. Yeah, not loose friend. That's different. Just casual.
Someone that I know from outside of the game. Why would I get rid of that person?
Who I've known since childhood, who we both went through the struggles of competitive figure skating, and we shared
Same
that
trauma,
experience.
shared traumas.
And, just that entire thing. So I'm very upset that Tara's name did not even come up as a possibility, as a mention.
Okay, I also thought that was weird because obviously they're going to defend each other at the round table.
Yes.
Tara and Johnny.
If you are expecting Johnny to go at the round table, why do you want anybody there to defend him?
Plus, I think it would shake him.
Yes.
Like, it would knock him even further off course. We've got to get him into Ron territory.
Bad headspace. Bad headspace.
Where he's like, I'm already gone.
Yeah.
Why am I here?
And what's the point? I don't really care, whatever.
Yeah.
So that way if you know which direction a round table's going, do not fight that. Do not tempt fate and say, maybe we get another name into the mix. No, make it a sure thing that if Johnny's name is up for discussion, Johnny's going. And that's it. Leave it at that.
That's not what they do, though.
That's not what they do, though, because next morning at breakfast, Johnny is still the top suspect. Everybody who's walking into breakfast before Johnny walks in is like,
So it's Johnny, right?
It's probably Johnny. Steven was a close second, though. Mm-hmm. Steven's name is coming up in the mix as well.
I thought Steven did a good job defending himself at the round table when they brought up the whole randomness of Lisa putting her gold into his box.
Right.
But
which sounds like a very personal maneuver, but that's not what we're talking about.
That didn't do enough to kind of put that to bed. And some other things have started to arise about him.
Yeah, and the more people are thinking, the more suspicious people get. He just seems too cool and calm and collected.
Well, Natalie's like, he seems fake this morning. There's something about the way he said hello and good morning.
That's because
that just isn't like the way it's been before.
Natalie's from New Jersey and Steven is from California. So that's just, this is
two opposite coasts.
That's a Laguna Beach sort of vibe. I don't know how else to explain it to you.
She's just getting really paranoid the further that they get, because I know she's a legendary player on Survivor.
Yes.
But in this game so far, not so great.
Not so good. Yeah, not so great. She's going off of her gut reactions to things, which at this point, she's super paranoid. So she's on like a hair trigger response for a lot of different accusations that could potentially be flying around here. So the Traitors' plan of the day is, if people are talking about Johnny, push towards Johnny. So again, that's why I thought if you were going to do that, solidify that with a murder. That would eliminate Johnny's closest companion here in the game. That's not what happens. Dorinda is murdered instead.
They murdered the last housewife.
Which that would have been a whole great theory too, because that was something that had been floated around, was what if the turret is full of housewives? You could have wasted a banishment on Dorinda.
I cannot believe, after Dorinda got eliminated the first night last season,
yeah.
And she got a second chance to be here, I feel like she did pretty much nothing in this game.
Yeah, didn't really contribute much.
She really has just been pulled along by the fact that people were looking in other directions. And she was another faithful who just kind of like randomly voted.
Yeah.
She voted for whoever pissed her off that week.
Pretty much, yeah.
So she was disposable. I understand why they got rid of her. It's really like inconsequential to the Traitors.
Right. And like maybe they just thought she wouldn't go at banishment. Like there wasn't enough people who were suspicious of her being a traitor at that point. The housewives theory, maybe it wasn't gaining enough traction where if they had floated that around, but then it wasn't really picking up steam or people weren't buying into it, then yeah, quickly Dorinda becomes expendable at that point. But Eric's basically just trying to find as much food as possible to keep shoving in his mouth so he doesn't have to talk.
He's eating multiple croissants. That's really all there is. That's
what
they're serving. It's just smoked salmon, croissants, and some fruit.
Which the croissants look good. Okay. I mean, people are saying at first it was like the food for the Traitors looked really good. And then now it's been confirmed even by like Boston Rob and Bob the Drag Queen, where they were saying breakfast, like the meals were just terrible, atrocious.
Is that like a psychological reason? Like they're trying to make them hungry or something? Just because there's enough budget to buy some food. Come on.
Again,
some better food.
If I were at the status and the level of some of these folks, I would say I will provide my own craft services for this. I will be bringing
I have snackses.
I will be bringing
You
them.
have to say that you have like a blood sugar problem.
Yeah, something. Yeah, an accommodation that needs, my private chef needs to be here is what, that level, that echelon that you could get to, I suppose.
Or you just eat a lot of shortbread cookies.
But man, I hate all these turret snackses. Yeah, it's just terrible.
All right, so after breakfast, Tara and Johnny have to meet up because they're like, this is bad. Obviously, Johnny's at the top of everyone's list today, so we need to pivot because they've been keeping their relationship a secret, and they have to figure out how they're going to work together without being seen to work together.
Because, nobody's seen us work together, so now us working together today, it's probably going to look a little weird, but it's the only play we have, so this is what we're going to do.
And I do think that Johnny's right in that people want to hear evidence. We can't just walk around saying somebody else's name because my name is getting thrown out. So who do we have the most evidence against? Steven. So let's lead with that.
Let's start there. Yeah, because when Johnny is referencing some of these examples here right out the gate too. Yesterday, Stephen had met with Candace. That was that one-on-one conversation that was taking place.
Very weird.
That he noticed before the round table, and that was a little suspicious.
Two people who hadn't really been seen talking to each other previously.
You know, not like Johnny and Tara. Not like that. Not right now.
Not like us.
Not like what we're doing. I'm saying I saw other people doing what we're doing, and that was weird.
And we're going to tell people about it.
Yes, obviously. People need to know.
There's no holes in that plan.
But Tara is terrified because she's going and having conversations with Kristen, and that conversation did not go well.
No.
Because Kristen's like, yeah, to be honest, I thought immediately, based on what happened yesterday, that you would be the traitor. Just seeing your interactions now between Candace and Johnny, like that, all that connection and stuff, it's alarm bells for me.
Tara is shocked.
So Tara's like, what? How do I combat this?
She's so nice. She's like,
I'm friends.
Kristen
I'm here to make
is
friends.
so smart. I really think a lot of her, and it's really scary if she thinks I am a traitor.
There could be other people in this game who think I'm a traitor as well. And I don't know now because I don't have Candace to tell me if people are saying my name. I think that's what's happening here too, is now there's like a cutoff of
They have no
information.
alliance left.
They're not in that group, that larger group who's still talking.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like you're left to your own devices now, where a lot of your friends are gone. And the last friend that you have is one of the number one suspects for the round table today. So it's not a great spot to be in.
No.
Rough.
Then over in another one of the rooms, it's Rob and Eric, and I think Maura was there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric is just in awe of how Rob is playing this game because
Amazing.
he's in his little crop vest.
He's
arms
lounging,
just behind his head,
leaning back,
relaxed,
chilling on the couch,
like he's
not a care in the world.
No, and meanwhile, Eric is afraid to say anything.
Eric has clammed up so hard. You know, like when
Rob's
people...
like an eagle soaring across the sky is what he's
No worries. Yeah, he is flying high because he knows. Yeah, and the weirder that Eric acts today, it's just going to make it so much easier to point to you. And as soon as the heat turns to Eric, he's going to freak out. So it's only a matter of time, right? But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. In the meantime, it's just, these are the types of things when people say, I think you got recruited because your demeanor has drastically changed from the other night.
He's not doing a good job of covering that kind of stuff up.
Too good.
No.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I thought Eric was going to be like as a traitor.
Yes.
I don't think he has the ability to play it cool.
Right.
Just based on how nervous he got at the round table when he spoke up about hearing the laugh.
Yeah, it's like that he has not been right a lot in this game. So that doesn't help at all because it just makes it look like you've been playing deceptively, but you were just mistaken over and over and over again.
Like everybody else.
Like everybody else, but at
don't
least
see that.
they weren't as vocal about it. Their mistakes, they can kind of just gloss over that because they didn't convince the rest of the table decidedly to do something foolish.
So then they go to the mission. And this is kind of interesting. They have like big wooden boxes for all of them to get inside. Well, everybody has their own box.
Right.
They're not all in a communal
box. It's not all
box.
in one box. Yeah, everybody has their own giant Jack in the Box.
Yes, it's their own version of Jack in the Box.
They are the Jack that's going into the box. And that's how this is all set up. Now, the catch here is there's going to be questions that are asked. So everybody tucks down into the box, the lids are closed, and then the traitors have to sneak out of their boxes and answer the question. And then they get back into their box, and then everybody pops out and answers what the answer is. So the traitors are supposedly...
They're picking the answer to the question that everyone else has to solve.
Needs to match to.
And
the
obviously
matches,
it's worth money.
Yeah, the matches are where they get money. So there's an incentive here to try to answer the question honestly as the traitors.
But this is also the game that happens late in the Traitors, where usually the traitors end up giving information about themselves away through the answers that they plant.
Right. And Rob makes that abundantly clear to us as the first answer that is posited here is Tara. And so then they retreat to their boxes. Everybody pops up. There's kind of a mixed bag of answers. I think a few people said Tara for that first one.
I don't remember what the first question was. Was it who's the most valuable to the Traitors? It was also who's the most manipulative. There were a couple of different questions like that.
Yeah, or like who's most likely. So
it doesn't matter because they decide they're answering every question Tara.
They're just going to put Tara for every answer because Tara's the most scared faithful right now.
Yeah.
So if you just keep drawing attention to her, that's going to look weird. Plus, Rob already pointed this out. The most important thing, like value wise, yes, money has value in the game. Information, though, is the most valuable asset. And that's what the faithful are always sniffing around for information, for clues. They're on the hunt. So don't give them anything that can lead back to us. Just remain the same, stay constant, and then they won't be able to decipher anything from that. They could make their own conclusions.
Smart. But I don't know if I would have chosen to put Tara's name in every single time. I mean, I guess she's maybe the best one to go with because there's already people looking at Johnny. She's close to Johnny. That's kind of weird. Maybe it's Johnny trying to deflect from himself. Kind of like our rationale for why Tara would have been murdered.
Right. Yeah. So to have that selection every single time, people are still answering honestly, though. So like the second question, nobody put Tara's name. And then people are saying, oh, it's Tara again. That's weird.
They start to pick up on the pattern that's occurring. That
After,
every
like,
time
the third one,
the answer gets revealed, it's Tara.
Oh, the answer's Tara every time. Oh, okay. So after the third question where they finally figure out that pattern, then everybody decides before they go back into their box. So it's Tara, clearly. That's what we're doing here. So everybody put down Tara's name, okay? And then everybody goes in the box. The Traitors, not surprisingly, select Tara's name again. When it's time for everyone to pop out of the box and show their answers, everybody picked Tara except for two people, Johnny and Tara.
The worst people to have answered incorrectly.
What are you doing?
They decided that they were still going to play the game the way that they wanted to play rather than go with what the group was doing, even though very clearly the Traitors were trying to... Look, I don't know if you could argue that the Traitors were trying to make this easier by putting Tara's name so that everybody would win money.
Yeah.
That it should be easy for you to figure out what the answer is going to be.
You see the pattern. Yeah, this is the answer. Just do this to get the money. So I like that Rob didn't point out that that's what was going on. I think it was Natalie who said, Natalie and Steven.
Yeah, someone else yelled, hey, everybody,
it's
let's
Tara
just
every
put down
time.
Tara's name.
And then, you're following the instructions of somebody else's genius idea where they were able to figure it out. So that's the nice thing here, too, is where it's like, okay, you aren't the one who set it up that way, you are the one who set it up that way, but you're not the one who's pointing it out and steering everybody in that direction.
Right, which, again, this is usually that game that occurs where one of the Traitors they get so distracted by the money that they try to get the group to answer whatever they know they put in the box.
They already knew the
whatever
answer.
they gave to Alan. And then that directs people to them.
They get suspicious of, somebody who was fighting for an answer that didn't make sense with what the rest of the group thought. So the consensus becomes clear because it's these specific cliques who have these ideas of the people in the group and what those roles are. And then that becomes more evident as this stage in the game. So it's just interesting to see it play out where Rob was leaving it to, hey, if we don't get money from these, we don't get money from these, but
protecting
we're
ourselves.
just putting Tara for everything. So once we get to that stage, which Johnny and Tara have completely destroyed all of their trust with the rest of the group at this point now, they're left with the decision to, the Traitors have to shortlist 4 faithfuls for murder. So the caveat there being that the Traitors could put themselves in amongst that group too.
Now, remember, I think Rob has studied all of the previous seasons of the Traitors. Most people on the show claim that they have done that, but he is remembering because, again, the chess game did Carolyn in last season. And then we're thinking about when they put everyone in the coffins.
Right.
The season with Parvati.
Yep.
He's thinking about those things.
Oh, yeah.
And so they decide we're not going to put a traitor on the short list.
Do not
because
put one
they're
of us.
going to expect that at least one of us is on it.
Absolutely. So the obvious choice here, Tara and Johnny, because those are two people who are just walking red flags at this point. So definitely throw them in there. So then who are your other two? We don't want to have anybody else that would be of value to us currently. And so we know that Rob's protecting Mark, so it's not going to be Mark. They don't want to put themselves in there. Steven already has a little bit of suspicion, so we don't want to put him up for murder. So it was just those decisions that then happen as far as like who else it's going to be, and we land on
Natalie and Kristen.
Who
were also two players who are very strong.
Yes, and
smart.
Yep.
And I think he is starting to think about the end game. That those are two people who could just wake up one day and start looking at Rob, and that would be a problem.
Big problem. And they don't just go along with the group.
No,
they're
have vocal
their own,
at the round table.
They're vocal at the round table. They'll have their own opinions, and then they will fight for those opinions.
Yes. So that's our short list. And on the way back, we see how this strategy is working out for Tara and Johnny, that they thought that they were going to be able to, I don't know, save at least one of themselves.
I don't know what the goal is.
They're trying to make it a little further in the game, but Maura is more convinced than ever that Johnny is a traitor. So that's a big problem going into the round table tonight. But then on the way back, we have everybody who was locked in the boxes who was shortlisted for murder. They're in their own car. And Natalie looks around and she's like, look, I don't think that any one of us in here is a traitor.
Right.
That's just my gut feeling. I think we're all faithfuls, including Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny's behavior, the read that Natalie has, is like defeated faithful, not traitor read, as far as like how he's playing or how he's acting today. It seems like he is a faithful who knows he's about to go home. So
depressed.
It's like a different energy.
Yeah,
there.
Depressed versus desperate.
Right. Yeah. It's not like we're not seeing like a fight really here. It's just kind of like, it's like that Ron level where it's just, oh boy, it's not looking good for me. And I know the
whole
time
group
here
has turned on me.
Yeah. Like my time here is limited at this point. It's only a matter of time. What was the other drawback here? I think there was another, somebody who was absolutely convinced at this point. I can't remember who it was. I already forgot.
I don't know.
It was probably a really good point. Believe me.
Maybe you'll think of it
Trust me.
as we keep going.
Maybe.
So once they get back to the castle, Natalie pulls Mark and Rob aside, and then Kristen comes in. And she's like, fine, you can come in too.
Sure.
She trusts all of them. And she starts to talk about Steven. Because now that she's off of Johnny, she's looking around and she's back to thinking about Steven and how weird he was at breakfast. And she starts kind of laying out her reasons for why she thinks everybody should be voting for him and stop looking at Johnny.
Yeah. This is where Kristen's like, I don't see that.
No.
I don't see Steven.
Kristen's got her own vendetta now which Natalie gets distracted by too.
This was the point because, this is the point where Kristen's like, I told Tara to her face this morning that I thought she was a traitor. And now magically I'm up for murder. I'm on the short list for murder.
That seems like it's not a coincidence.
Odd. I would say. So like that's where Kristen is all eyes on Tara at this point.
I'm actually surprised that didn't make Natalie want to look at Tara more because
Tara
remember
and
when she
Johnny,
voted for Tara the other night just because Candace said that Tara was the one who had led the group to vote against Natalie.
Right, yeah. And then Tara was like, I didn't like lead the group. It was like a consensus and I was a part of it. So that was confusing. You would think that Natalie might steer away from that. But again, these are two different people between Kristen and Natalie where they get their opinions, they get locked in, and then they're going. They're going that direction, and there's not much that they can change their mind.
So Rob's listening to this, and he's like, okay, we were going to go for Johnny, but maybe Eric and I need to change our plan, because if everybody else is starting to look at Steven, that'd be great, because Steven could go tonight, and then everyone will be back on Johnny and Tara tomorrow.
Because if Natalie is on Steven and she's like dead set on that, and then you've heard Johnny raising suspicion, Johnny and Tara now, who basically Johnny and Tara are, their strategy at the round table is please don't vote for Johnny or Tara. Like anybody else but Johnny and Tara. And so I think that was what Rob was piecing together. They're pretty much going to be going for Steven. So that's 3 right there. And then if you take Rob and Eric into account for that, that's 5 votes at the table. So like, it seems like that's where the numbers would be going, where we could go for Steven and then we wouldn't need to convince anybody or have somebody flip. And then we end up in a scenario where we don't know how this banishment's going to go.
So that's the conversation that's happening amongst, like, I don't know, they were like the only alliance that has really formed in the castle this entire time. And then there was the team that Johnny was trying to build that just kept falling apart every week.
Yeah, that
and
wasn't
it's
a
just
good
him
one.
and Tara now.
That wasn't a good one.
No.
And there were a couple traitors in that too.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not looking good. Yeah, nobody wants to be associated with Johnny's group anymore.
No, and so they're talking to each other and they're like, look, I think that we need to come clean to everyone. We need to tell them
the big reveal
that we are best friends. This is more than just a coworker relationship.
Okay.
And that way we'll be able to defend each other at the round table and people will understand why.
With impunity. Yeah, we can defend each other and speak for each other as a collective unit.
Perhaps the dumbest thing you could possibly do at this point in the game, because you're admitting to people that you have not been honest with them the entire time that you've been playing with them.
When they are at peak suspicion levels for you, both of you now. So that's how they kick off the round table, is that Tara opens by guaranteeing to everyone that Johnny is a faithful. And so people are like, I don't like the way that you phrased that. I don't like this verbiage that you're using.
That she can promise.
That you can, that there's this guarantee that you're putting on it.
How would you know that? Because even if you're best friends and you come into this game together, it's still a game, and Alan went around and tapped people's shoulders, and one of you could be a traitor.
It's a very high possibility that somebody could be a traitor, and then they're telling you that they're not, and then you're still just believing them. Because that's what Mark's saying, too. I come from a competitive background where it's close partnership stuff with Dancing with the Stars. Even if that were the case, I still would not trust someone implicitly with that. So, like, he's already poking holes into this theory, too, that they're able to defend each other. Johnny does a little bit better of a job because he's trying to come swoop in now and like clean up immediately, because you're on the defensive because now you've started off on the wrong terms here, and now you're immediately needing to backpedal and defend and deflect a little bit here, which doesn't look good. And now everybody's again leery about Johnny and Tara, because why are they bringing this up now?
It's been a real problem this entire season when somebody comes in hot at the round table thinking they're getting ahead of something, and they only create a bigger problem for themselves.
No, because then they're immediately met with questions of like, why are you doing that? And it's just suspicion that adds and builds.
So I think Johnny does a better job defending himself than he thought he was going to do coming into this.
Right.
Because he's like, look, I do believe that I was being used by a traitor, by Candace, and this is unfortunately a pattern in my life because I'm just a nice guy that gets taken advantage of by people.
Okay. And then people are like, okay, that's great. How does that explain your behavior today, though? Because Candace wasn't here today, and you guys were still doing really shady shit, because we said everybody vote for Tara for that last question. And then who pops out of the box not saying Tara? It's you two. So, like, what is going on with that? How do you explain your motivation to do that?
Look, sometimes you're just really bad at this. Sometimes you're not good at challenges. I'm not good at challenges. I haven't been since the beginning. That
is
doesn't make
true.
me a traitor.
He is the only one who fell off the dock into the water, full body submersion.
The first episode.
And Tara was close behind with that. So, I mean, there is direct involvement. I mean, we can't point to who's responsible necessarily, but also what's worse than a traitor? A bad faithful. So that's not a good defense to go with if you don't want to go home tonight.
I feel like the question you could have asked back to that was, what would you guys have thought if Tara and I both voted for Tara that last round?
Then they would say, oh, yeah, you're part of the group, that you're able to agree with, come to a consensus.
Well, they were at a point where there's no winning,
That's
right?
true.
I mean, anything they did is going to look suspicious because people are already on edge about them.
Yeah, but then the people who are on edge about them really don't like that when they told them to do something, they didn't do that. And now it's like you're going against the
why
group.
aren't you with us?
You're already
That's
you're on the outs, and then you're not doing things to like get back into our favor.
Okay, but also the rationale doesn't make sense. If the Traitors keep putting Tara's name in so that we can win money.
Right.
If we were the ones doing that, why would we then not vote Tara?
Yeah. See, that would have been a better defense.
Right?
I think. Logically, I think that makes more sense.
It took me a minute to get there.
Yeah. No, they didn't. That
They
train
never
did not make it to the station. So that was what we're left with, is just they're scrambling here. And at this point, that's
Natalie's like, shh.
Yeah, Natalie's
everybody.
like, let me take over here. Because, Johnny, I know you had some suspicions, basically, about Steven. I would like to talk to Steven here at the round table because I also have some suspicions that need to be addressed as well.
The rocks are doing him in.
The rocks, but also just, I'm convinced. Like, it doesn't even matter about the rocks, really, at this point. I feel it in my bones.
I don't like your aura.
You know, it's an energy thing, and it's not good. It's a bad vibe.
And she's just decided that she doesn't like who he is as a person.
I don't like you. I don't like you, and I don't want you in the game
That's
anymore.
That's the point that we've reached.
That's what it comes down to. It's a Michael Rappaport vote.
Like, it's not looking good because the rocks are coming back with, you're linked to a traitor that way with Lisa. And then you were seen chatting with Candace, another traitor. So I think you're going to have to do a little bit more explaining than you did last week or last night.
Well, I mean, he did the deflection for Lisa. I think that's what he got frustrated when it came up again. And it's like, dude, you're going to have to explain and re-explain and re-explain. Like, that's the basis of the game.
The sad part is his explanations are completely factual.
Yes.
That Lisa kind of just randomly gave him her stuff because she asked for the rock, or he asked her for her rocks. So she had no chance of winning.
So at that point, it's like, God, I should never have asked Lisa for her rocks.
Yeah, really regretting that now.
No, that was not worth it.
Trying to get the dagger was not worth it.
Not worth it in the long run.
And then Candace, he pins her for the fact that she was just a desperate traitor who was trying to gather information. And that's why she sat down and talked to me. She wanted to know who was saying her name.
Yeah, that was spot on. Exactly what was going on. And Natalie's like, yeah, I'm not buying it. I don't like that. I don't like that answer because it doesn't match up. I'm dug in. I'm set in on my position. And I'm voting for you. It doesn't really matter.
Alan walks over. Time to vote.
It's voting time.
And the dagger gets brought up again because we have tonight and then we have tomorrow night's roundtable. And these are the only times the dagger can be used, and then it's going to be out of play after that.
That's it. Yeah, Rob had a time limit on the number of roundtables that he was able to use that for. It was 4 of them. So this is roundtable number 3. Tomorrow will be number 4. If he doesn't use it, he loses it.
So he's not going to use it tonight. But then Natalie leans over and she's like, look, you need to say, can you say something? Because I'm the only person from the dagger group that's up for murder tonight. So basically, if Rob doesn't tell everybody that he has the dagger,
she could very easily.
She's very likely going to be the one murdered because maybe they're trying to murder the person who they think has the dagger.
That makes a ton of sense. And what does Rob do in that moment? He tells the table, I have the dagger. That plays
She told
Well, she
him
was
the
wanting
strategy essentially.
Well, she wanted that to happen. Yeah,
yeah.
like it works in Natalie's favor because then it confirms to the group for any of the traitors there.
I don't have the
I
dagger.
don't have the dagger. Unless that was a strategized play where they're going to say, oh, yeah, somebody who's not up for murder says that they have whatever. But like,
it's protecting her.
It protects her.
And then also there's no consequence for Rob to admit that he has it at this point because the only people who can be murdered are on the short list and he is not one of them.
Correct. So that is the benefit. And then now there's no other threat. You're not going to banish him before that vote. Like he's able to use the dagger for that vote.
And it again gets him to gain some trust with the faithfuls.
He's being
because
honest.
He's honest. He's not hiding it.
He's being honest about
and
having
he's helping Natalie.
Yes. And so I think that's helping a faithful, that's gaining trust with the group. And also Rob likes to have the subconscious play here of everybody now knows that Rob has the dagger. So don't go against Rob.
He has an extra vote
because
tomorrow
he has an extra vote tomorrow. So don't argue with Rob. Don't bring anything up against Rob.
I think he pretty much just guaranteed himself that he ends up in the finals of this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. That's the spot. That's the play. I think based on how the rest of this episode goes, I can see how this is going to play out a little bit for the next episode. A little bit. We'll see how close we get. But for this round table, yes, the dagger is not being used. It's remaining sheathed. Sorry, ladies. But he reveals it because Natalie asks him, yes, this needs to happen. So he did that. The results of the vote are in. It's 2 for Tara. That's Kristen and Mark voted for that because Kristen's like, I'm not off Tara.
She's convinced
at
it's
all.
Tara.
Yeah, it's got to be Tara. 2 votes for Johnny, Maura, and Steven. And then 5 votes for Steven. It was Rob, Eric, Natalie, Johnny, Tara. So I think Johnny and Tara, that's the bonded pair vote now.
I want to point out, though, like keeping both of them in the game is kind of creating a problem because if the round tables can continue to be split between them, it's going to be harder to get rid of them.
Correct. And then also, if somebody else has a little bit more suspicion, and then you're splitting votes of people who are trying to get out one or the other, then at this point, if you have a 3-way split vote with 9 votes, that can turn really quick. Yeah, it can be 3 votes to get somebody out. So it doesn't take much at this level.
So Steven is banished.
Steven is banished. You blew it.
Yeah, he was salty at the end.
So
he played really like a nice guy up until the last moment. And then he was like, these people are so stupid.
I'm sure when he said you blew it, then Natalie was like, oh, I kind of wish I didn't get rid of him. Like that was the winning point. Like she would have liked to have seen that version of Steven playing the game a little bit more. Maybe.
She was very regretful. She started immediately trying to apologize to people. God.
Walking out of there, yeah, she was apologizing to Rob and Eric, of all people, first of all, where she was like, I'm so sorry, you guys. So
they're like, you did perfect.
No, yeah, well, they're not telling her that, but it was just, oh, yeah. I like that Rob blamed his vote on Natalie. So that's another thing, too, of him saying, I was coming in here to this round table. I was dead set on voting for Johnny. But based on what Natalie said, I'm voting for Steven. And then it's like, oh, well, that's your fault. So to blame her, I don't know why Johnny and Tara were so scared after this, where they're like, oh my gosh, I'm up for murder. No, you are not. You are the 2 people least likely to be murdered now because you have the most suspicion.
Yeah.
This is definitely between, it's either Natalie or it's Kristen who would be getting murdered because Tara and Johnny have so much suspicion.
I don't know. I could see maybe murdering Tara.
That
just to cause more confusion.
I mean, it could be confusing, but then that might unseat things.
I don't think it's the best strategic move.
I don't think that's a good play because then that throws Kristen off where then she has to find a new number 1 suspect. You don't want Kristen looking for another number 1 suspect because if she lands on your name, it's a big problem. So you got to keep her occupied. You leave Tara in the game.
She's busy sniffing around already after the round table.
She's sensing.
She was noticing some things that were happening or not happening because Eric was very, very quiet at the round table.
Very quiet. Not usual for Eric to be So quiet. Because I think that was the thing that was most impressive was this entire round table. Rob didn't say shit.
Not that we saw.
Not that we saw, because they'll edit around these, and a lot of the roundtable discussions, sometimes they go for like 45 minutes of stuff that they cut down. But we didn't see Rob say anything. We didn't see Eric say anything.
Mm-hmm. And we know Eric's strategy was to be quiet.
The quiet, yes.
Yeah, he said that at the beginning of the day.
But that has changed, is because that's not how he was playing before. So now when you just suddenly stop talking all the time and you have no input in anything, Kristen's coming over to him in the kitchen. She's like, what's your deal? Because something's off. Something's very different here. Because also
your vote was odd.
He used the term throwaway vote. Do not say that. After Candace was just talking about throwaway vote and then she got up there and said she's a traitor.
He shouldn't have repeated that word just because it's a red flag.
Do not.
But he was basically saying, I didn't want my vote to be a throwaway vote at the round table tonight. But I was just really confused because I'm looking around at all these people that I trust and everyone was saying a different name and I just didn't know what to do.
And that's when Kristen's like, you need to think for yourself. Don't just go with the group on stuff. What do you think? Who do you think it is? And he's like,
depends on what Rob thinks.
I don't know.
That's part of the problem is he has come into this thinking that the Traitors are playing in a team versus being a traitor but still playing for yourself.
Right. So he has no strategy left now that he has been recruited as a traitor. And so he doesn't want to do anything to step out of alignment with that. Mm-hmm. So he's playing way too conservatively, which is not what he was doing before. He used to be able to raise his opinions and say what he thought at the table. So it was just these different hit and miss moments where Kristen's like, something's off with this kid. Mm-hmm. Like, something is really, really wrong.
So she runs off and finds Rob and Mark and tells them, if I get murdered tonight, it was Eric. I'm highly suspicious of him. I just had a conversation with him that was weird.
And Rob's smile, it was a little flicker of a smirk. As soon as she says, if I'm murdered, look at Eric. Because you have those words coming out of Kristen's mouth, who is up for murder tonight. And this just works so flawlessly.
And she couldn't have said it in front of a more perfect person.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. In front of Mark.
Mark is totally on Rob's side.
Yes.
And Mark trusts Kristen a lot. They voted together tonight.
Yes.
So if something happens to her, Mark is going to be looking to avenge her death.
Yeah. And Mark's going to be nervous too. So he's going to lean into his close connections a little bit more, which would probably be Rob. So that leads us to the turret where Eric is stressed. He is sweating bullets up in the turret.
He did not do well with the one conversation with Kristen. I don't think there's any way he could face her at the round table.
No way.
No.
Absolutely not. So this is one of those conversations where it becomes a repeat of Rob convincing Candace to murder Connor. But like Connor?
You're thinking of Love is Blind from last night. Colton.
I am. Colton.
We've already erased him from our memory.
Yeah, he's gone. Dead to me. So, okay, it's the same thing where it was Rob leaving out very important pieces of information and not mentioning that, hey, if you murder that person, it's going to point right to you.
Yeah.
So I think the way that he was doing this was he was leading Eric towards the conclusion of, I think it would be good to murder Kristen. You're going to get a lot of heat over it because she's going to
have to answer for it. But if we leave her in the game, it could be worse for you than if we got rid of her now.
Here's your choices, because you're a rock and a hard place, because it's either you murder Kristen and then you have to defend against the accusations that she said your name last, or your job tomorrow is convincing Kristen that you're not a traitor. Which one sounds easier at this point?
Okay, I'm very worried for Eric because I think that he is going to choose to murder Kristen because
I think
he cannot handle the round table.
As soon as he was put into that position of like convince Kristen or just murder her, which one do you think? And it's like, yeah, probably just murdering her.
Okay, let's say that he doesn't do that he's smart enough to be like, I don't feel comfortable.
I don't think I should.
Rid of Kristen.
Yeah.
Who do you think that they end up getting rid of? out of Johnny, Tara, and Natalie.
It'd be Natalie.
Do you think so?
She ran her course. She went after Steven, and then now they don't want her going after. She would be looking for a new number one suspect.
Rob isn't necessarily like attached to people, so I could see him getting rid of Natalie, but
she served her purpose.
Yeah, but I feel like Natalie's at a point where I don't know if she's going to trust her gut at the next round table or if you can get her to just go with whatever you want her to do.
Well, here's the problem, right? Is that
I know we said that's not who she is.
No.
But I think she may be at a breaking point where she feels like she owes something to the group because she fucked up.
Right.
And she has a lot of trust in Rob.
Yes.
So, I mean, if she stuck around this week, would it be the worst thing? It'd be a lot better to get rid of Kristen this week.
I see it as, it seems like it's going to be guiding Eric to accidentally, not so accidentally, murdering Kristen.
Yeah.
And then, because I think that was the other reassurance that Rob was giving, was that, well, me and Mark will be able to take up for you.
I was going to say, you know what else didn't come up? Rob could say, I have the dagger.
Yes.
If tomorrow night everyone comes for you, Eric, I'll use the dagger to save you.
Yeah, I don't think that's how that's going to go.
No, but I mean, could he say that to him?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
To give him a little reassurance that,
right.
you know, you murder Kristen, maybe you get some heat tomorrow at the round table. I have an extra vote. I'll make sure that someone else goes instead of you.
Nope, that's not how that's going to work.
No, that's not what he'll do.
Because I think what this is set the stage now for an absolute perfect play for Kristen to be murdered, all suspicion to shift to Eric. And then everybody's going to go so hard on Eric at the round table where then Rob is going to use the dagger. It's his last opportunity to. And then he's just going to say, because he has to always place responsibility elsewhere for his vote, he's going to say, Kristen told me last night, if she gets murdered, look at Eric. So this is
for Kristen.
This is Kristen's vote. That would be here too.
Okay, so ideally for Rob, the way this plays out is Kristen is murdered tonight. Tomorrow, everybody goes for Eric, and he uses the dagger and gets rid of Eric.
At banishment, yeah.
And then from then on out, who's left? It's him, Natalie.
Oh, you're going to try and name off everybody else who's left? Oh, boy.
And Tara.
Johnny and Tara are going to eat up
and Maura.
At least 2 more banishments. Because people aren't going to trust them to be in there. But, like, this would be such a smoking gun incident of Kristen said before she went to bed, if I'm murdered, look at Eric. People are immediately going to shift and prioritize that where we need to get Eric out.
And I'm telling you, the minute that the attention gets turned to Eric, somebody's going to bring up the vote for Tiffany.
Yes, absolutely.
With the laugh in the woods.
Definitely.
That's going to get brought up again. He will not be able to answer to any of it. He will be just completely silenced, verklempt. He won't know what to say.
He's going to be all backed up. So, like, if it comes down to that, where then Eric is the one who's banished. So if Kristen's murdered, Eric's banished. Where does that leave people on Johnny and Tara? Then would you still be suspicious of Johnny and Tara both? At a certain point, the banishments, they stop saying if they're a traitor or a faithful when they leave the game. At least that's what they did last season. Not saying that they'll do the same thing this season, but that was an element in the end game.
If that continues to be the same, then people won't feel comfortable ending the game with Johnny and Tara.
Probably with either of them.
And I think Mark and Maura trust Rob so much that if he can get into the finals with them, I think it's the 3 of them at the end.
I think this is an easy way this is going to be Rob convincing Natalie, who would still be here, win me back with vote for Eric. Let's get Eric out. He's going to talk to Johnny and Tara maybe about, hey, it would be, I don't even know if he needs to talk to them. I think Johnny and Tara are going to be able to pick up on a lot of suspicions going towards Eric. So we need to vote for Eric.
Right.
So like that way it stays over there.
Right. Which is why it would be good also to not murder them tonight. Is
Correct.
Because those are 2 people who you can get to vote with you tomorrow.
Correct.
For whoever hopefully is Eric.
I don't think there would be, I don't think there would be a benefit to murder Tara or Johnny tonight at all.
Yeah.
For Rob or for Eric at this point. But like Eric's just kind of backseat right now where he thinks he's making decisions, but it's because he's not really thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead. Rob's already there. Rob's already at banishment tomorrow, and he knows where this is going.
Yeah. I mean, now, could this all fall apart really quickly for Rob?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in this game, especially at the end.
Oh, definitely.
If you make one wrong move,
Eric could say something.
Be it for you.
Eric could say something weird at the round table that does point back to Rob. Something that comes up while he's trying to defend or deflect or whatever. Like, the game can change in an instant for a lot of this. So you don't know what's going to happen. But I think the way the way he's playing it, I think Rob stands a really, really, really good chance to go all the way here. Definitely.
Well, let's do a little bracketology update. Maybe let's do the top 3 this week, since we're getting closer to the end.
Okay, yeah, top 3. We have Mia Girl, Bana, and 8478 Ice. We do have a 3-way tie for 5th place right now.
Yeah.
And we did drop down to 8th place. So, yeah, we had a rough week, guys.
We had 2 bad weeks in a row.
It was a little bumpy there.
But the top, again, separated by
close.
just a couple of points each. So you got to keep setting your brackets.
Yeah, the gap here, I mean, 1st place 564, 2nd place 560, and 3rd place 559. So there's 1 point difference between 2nd and 3rd place right now. It's really close, you guys. So make sure you set those lineups. Don't forget, if you like what you're hearing, if you like what you're seeing on the Patreon, make sure you leave us a written review. I don't know why. The algorithm likes the words. You type out the words. The stars are nice. The thumbs up are good. The sharing. So go post
Sharing's
on
very good too.
Sharing the links to the episodes as well. So that gets the word out there. It puts our podcast in front of other people. More people get to listen. More people join the community. And then we're all watching the shows together and having a good time. So that's what it's all about. That's what we're trying to build and foster here. A real faithful community.
Also, if you're looking for more to listen to, we have another episode of Suddenly Amish that's going to be dropping this week. And it's a good episode.
Did you get the screener? Did you scrub through?
I watched a little bit of the screener, and the story is taken off.
It's ramping up a little bit here. So, yeah, we'll stay tuned for that.
You want to turn your brain off for 45 minutes and watch Suddenly Amish? Highly recommend.
Traitors is a lot for the theories, for the strategy, for the next steps and things to keep in mind. So, Suddenly Amish is a different speed. It's off the grid. It's unplugged. It's it's a little change of pace, so to speak.
Also, over on our Patreon and on Ace and Caitlin's Patreon, we dropped an episode of In the Can. We were guests on there. Be sure to check that out if you enjoy the trash bags. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was good.
I can't tell you what we talked about. It was
like 2 hours of just a whole bunch of different stuff. Just ADHD stream of consciousness.
A little bit of Love is Blind.
Yeah. What was the documentary
the Lucy
we watched?
Letby documentary from Netflix.
I didn't remember her name at all.
I don't know how I did because I watched so little of it.
I was hardly paying attention. We sprinkled in a little bit of Olympic stuff, some therapy stuff, reasons for divorce, things like that.
The collapse of the U.S. dollar. Covered a lot in that amount of time.
Little things. Little things to address, I suppose. So make sure you check that out as well.
Oop. Maisie's done, so
Maisie's
that means
done.
it's the end of the episode.
That's it. That's the end.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.